would just pop right up, but
Yeah.
we've done.
Did
And,
you?
we invited Dick to come, and I don't remember if we really planned it to begin with, but I was really, I didn't mind.
And he told it all.
He did. He did.
Well, he evidently has got a good memory.
Some of his memos.
You got it?
That way, or
Yeah.
he can come right back with them.
Okay, I
You
need
know,
it.
I knew I should have brought that notebook. I was trying not to bring so many heavy things.
You're right, everybody's got a book.
Make, don't cut
Then
off.
there's another one over there.
Yeah, that's true, that's true.
Be a good spot for Roberta to get in or something.
Okay.
My mother loved your cattle call. That was
Yeah.
her favorite one.
Well,
And any time, those were the two.
cattle call is, I'm just somebody that's telling.
Okay. Today is June the 6th, 2001. And we're here in Eddie Arnold's office in Brentwood, Tennessee with Gina Noble, Del Boy, and Eddie Arnold. And we're going to talk about Brentwood in days past. And so I was going to start off by asking how long you have lived in Brentwood, but I know, Gina, how long you've lived in Brentwood,
That's right.
which is all your life.
Right.
So tell us, Mr. Arnold, how long
Well, we
have you been
moved
here?
out here in 1950. And of
1950.
course, not near as long as you people have lived here. But we bought our little place and moved out in 1950. And then the place that we're in right now, I bought this in 1952. And not this room, but we've added this room that we're in now. But I bought the front part of the building in 1952.
But now, why did you decide to buy in Brentwood when you could have lived anywhere in Nashville or the Nashville area? Because this wasn't Brentwood.
Yeah, at that time in my life, my hobby was riding horses. Having grown up on a farm and riding horses and mules. And but I thought, you know, I wanted to ride horses, and I had some horses, and my children at that time were small, and they would ride with me. My wife would ride with me now and then. And so when we moved here from Madison, and I had a little acreage out there where I kept my horses, but I wanted to get over here because there's a good many people rode horseback, and I thought, well, I'll have somebody to ride with me when I get out there. And I did. And so here I am.
How long did it take you to meet the Nobles after you moved here?
Almost instantly because of your mother and father.
Yeah. Because the motel was built in 54 and the restaurant was already there.
Yeah.
Now, Gina, you tell us how you fit into this picture.
Well,
Your family has been here for how long?
my dad moved out here on Kelly Road
I'm looking for the horse picture.
when he was 3 years old. And he was born in 1912, so that would have been 1915 when they moved out here, because he was 3 years old, and my grandfather was a pharmacist, and Grandpa kept going back and forth to Nashville to his drugstore until 1929 when they built the drugstore on the corner, Noble's drugstore. And Daddy was out here from then on. And then he married Mother, a little while later, 1934, I believe. And I came along a couple years later, and we've all been here basically since then. My brother and my mother and dad. And Brentwood is just home.
Let me break in here. Bobby, you probably ought to put a microphone here
No, it picked it up. It'll pick it up.
because our voices will pick us up much better. I never thought about that.
Well, see, I got one right there. It's directional. It's very sensitive.
When he did the one at the restaurant, we didn't have microphones, and it's great. He's gonna hear us.
Well, you're talking so softly that I doubt if you will be heard. And most of the time you have to have a microphone close to where the subjects are.
I'll try to speak up.
But you know, what was Noble's when you moved out here? Was it a restaurant or still a drugstore at that time?
And when? 50? You moved out here when?
1950?
1950.
Okay. Well, the restaurant was built in 1948, I believe. Is when Daddy added on the restaurant. And we moved to Franklin somewhere around that time, and Frank King bought the business
Okay.
from my dad. And he was there for a while. So Frank King probably owned the business at the time you moved out. Because we moved to a farm.
I didn't know that.
We did.
But tell them a little bit more, because I missed that too.
The farm,
Yeah.
we moved out on Liberty Pike. Mr. Pickering bought it from us
Okay.
several years ago, and as far as I know, he still has it.
Yeah.
That was one of my favorite places to live. Was out there on the farm with the animals, and we were out there when the big ice storm hit.
1951.
It was beautiful. It was just like walking in a glass shop and seeing all the glass blown.
Yeah.
It was so pretty. But we lived there for about 3 or 4 years, and then moved into town on Battle Avenue, where Daddy built a house. Actually, he ended up building 2 houses, and he was going to sell one. And of course, the one we were living in is the one they wanted to buy, so we moved next door to the other house. And then came back. I went to Franklin High School, and so did my brother. And then we moved back to Brentwood, and I was a senior in high school in 1954, and that's when Daddy built the first 12 units of the motel.
Did y'all live at Cool Springs?
No,
You just remodeled
I
it.
remember Jan and I were dating at the time that he was redoing that house. And the picture in here, I just looked at it today, and just exactly what it looked like. Pictures don't lie. Yes.
Everybody's got the book.
The book. But I remember when he was working on it, and I thought it was one of my favorite houses that he redid. The floor plan and the stairways and everything that he
And what
did
else
with
did he redo? Because that wasn't the only house.
it. Oh dear, he did some
We're
houses.
leaving you out of this.
Well, and I'm afraid I can't give you a lot of. That was Daddy's love, was to redo old houses. If he could have done that and made a living, he never would have done anything else.
Yeah.
But he did things so well and to such perfection that he couldn't make any money on it. It would end up costing too much, and then he couldn't get the money out of it that he needed to put food on the table. So he had to go to motel business and restaurant business and whatever. He did some houses in Franklin. Vance, I can't tell you which ones. I know he and Roy Barker had the house up on Columbia Avenue, sitting up there to the left, right before you get to Carter's Court. Or it was. I don't know if it's even still there. Do you know which one I'm talking about?
I know which one you're talking about. I don't know.
And I think he did some work on that. And then on Main Street, he did several, house through there. But I was not around enough at that point to. The main one I remembered was the Crockett House.
And also, didn't he do Paul's Farm?
Yes, yeah. Well, he did some work on that. It was livable. We lived there I have to always go back to how old my children were. Nancy was 8 months old, and she's getting ready to be 40 tomorrow. She may not like me telling that, but she said it didn't bother her. So, but Jan was laid off. He was an electrician. We lived in Michigan, and we came down. That's when we always used to come down and visit Mother and Daddy when he was out of work, so he could work when work was good. And we came down, and she was 8 months old, and we lived there in that house. And that was a nice house. And I'm thinking you and Grizzard bought that house, and then Paul Harmon bought it since then.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a pretty unique house too. Just one of the old homes that you just enjoy going into and just wondering if walls could talk, what they could say.
Still is a nice house.
Yeah, I'm sure it is. I've been in it since Mr. Harmon's been there, but it's been a long time.
He has his office in the smokehouse.
Does he really?
Yeah. All right, Eddie, now tell us what was in Brentwood in 1950.
Well, there was a little grocery store down by the place you call the motel. There was a little grocery store. I'm sitting here trying to remember the names of the people that ran that drugstore. I mean, that grocery store. They were wonderful people.
They were, and I'm
Well,
trying
they're the same ones that when they moved across the street to the drive-in market.
No, I don't
No,
think so.
no,
They're
that
the
was,
same one.
no.
Actually, Dave Ashley. Is that who you're talking
That's
about?
right.
Yes.
That's right. His parents and Dave
Yeah.
had their little grocery.
Mm-hmm.
I know Mrs. Arnold would go over there on the weekends to get some steaks, and he would always cut the steaks for her.
Yes.
He said, "Is this all right, Mrs. Arnold?" She said, "Yeah." He said, "All right. I want to please you."
Well, used to, I could never figure out how my mother could feed 20 people as well as she could feed 2 or 3 until later when I got a little smarter. But people would stop in at the motel for one reason or another because she fed everybody. And I found out at some point she hid it out that back door and around the back and went to the grocery store and bought more groceries. So I found out her secret, but it took me a while to understand that because she could come up with a feast from just nothing. She was such a good cook. But that was part of her secret, was scooting out that back door and going to the
Well, wasn't that the
grocery.
building that became the hardware store?
Uh-huh. Yes, it was.
That's what I was thinking.
It is now. It was the hardware store.
Then what else was here?
Well, let's see. Across the street was the Pewitts. They had the gas station.
S.O.
Esso, that's right, Esso. And then just up the street there where was Shell.
That was on
On the
the
corner.
right-hand side, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Up there where
Where it is now?
the big building, Trammell Crow's building. Isn't that where Shell was? Or Direct Oil?
Direct oil.
Yeah, they were, okay.
Well, there's a Shell there now, you
Yeah.
know, and only it wasn't near as modern as this one.
Oh, no. A pump or two.
Yeah, yeah, and a little hardware store close by, right where we are now. And matter of fact, your mother used to work there. Brabson Haley.
Brabson Haley had and it had wood floors, and if you went barefooted, you'd get splinters in your feet.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
He lived down on Franklin Place Circle.
yeah, that's right. And right across the street from where we're seated right now was the Methodist Church.
And that's where I got married.
Was it?
Is that right? Very small little church. It's not there now, of course. They would have a very large one down the road here.
The very big dome.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. So many things have come and gone, and kind of sentimental things now.
Was Pewitt Drive here then?
It must have been.
I guess so, because it's an alley, you know. That's
Yeah.
not really a dedicated street.
Right.
That's really an alley.
Well, didn't the Pewitts live back there? Luther
Yeah, they did.
and Emery.
Yeah, that's
They were-
both of them
yeah,
lived there.
Yeah. Emory particularly lived back here, because
Well, I think Luther did, because they each had a daughter, a
Right.
year younger than
Barbara
I, and
and
Carolyn.
Carol.
well, I bought a house back there that formerly was owned by Mr. Pewitt, Emery Pewitt. And it's now a gentleman is in it, Mr. Campbell is in it, in the glass business.
And doing quite well, I
Yeah,
understand.
yeah.
And
yeah.
Barbara had her beauty shop.
Yes, you did.
back there.
That's right. Right
Barbara's
next to it.
House of Beauty.
That's right, correct. Yeah.
Small world, isn't it?
Dolly Bill, you're making me think of things that I forgot completely. When you get as old as I am, man.
Was the Granberries Mill here at that time?
Yes. The Granberries were,
Forgotten about that.
yeah,
Down there on the corner.
yeah.
The old interurban station.
Yeah.
And, and at some point, there was Mike and somebody had mannequins down there after the mill.
Well, they might have. Do you, I'm trying to recall something. There was a man, it seemed like his name was Kearns,
Yeah,
Kearns,
Mr. Kern,
yeah.
that
yeah.
made furniture.
Yes.
Right.
Great
Beautiful
furniture.
furniture and lamps.
He was
I have some furniture in my home now that he made.
Now, he was in the hardware store, wasn't he? In that,
Well, he was
where,
in the building with the three gables on it.
oh, is that where, okay, yeah, okay. Well, I knew he was on this side of the road.
Yeah. Mr. Kern, he
He was a fantastic woodworker.
oh, wasn't he there? Oh, man, he made beautiful furniture. I have some of it in my
Yeah, we have
house
some
now.
tables and some
Oh,
lamps.
yeah,
and-
my Lord.
Yeah, I do. Because he made it for us and was very proud of what he made.
You can tell by the price, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
But it's gonna be around for a while too.
He would tell you how the cow ate the cabbage real fast.
I had forgotten about him.
Well, tell us about the Pewitts now. They did more than just run a filling station.
Yeah. They were great people, the Pewitts. They were great people. I thought a lot of the Pewitts, Emery and Luke. Yeah.
And Emery was the
First
first
mayor.
mayor.
Uh-huh.
Yes,
Oh, Brent.
he was. He was.
First mayor, he sure was.
Certainly was. Yeah.
Fine people.
Oh, Carolyn, not Carolyn, I don't know where Carolyn is at this point. Now, Barbara I have talked to,
Yeah.
since we started our property situation.
What was Carolyn Luke's daughter?
I think so.
Yes,
yeah,
right.
Okay,
And
I never,
Barbara was Emery.
Emery's, okay,
Oh.
okay.
Yeah.
Because she married Campbell.
And Carolyn married Wilkins, Buddy Wilkins, I believe.
Yeah, and see, I still see Wilkins
Do you?
from time to time. He was here not long ago. And they live, I think, in Knoxville now.
Oh, well, I had lost track of her.
And then what was on the other side of the railroad?
Not very much.
But tell us what.
Well,
It was hard scuffle.
That was hard
What?